Well, I'm here in Goa to drive a car that you've already seen a lot about. You've seen it in a camouflage drive, you've seen it in a walk around, we've told you about the features. But today in Goa, I'm here to drive the production ready version of the Skoda Slavia. Now I'm here with the pair of 1 liters, the manual and the automatic, and I'll be diving into the performance, the features, the way it looks, the amount of space that it has. But what you need to know now is that this is based off the same platform as the Kushaq. It shares the same engines and gearboxes and of course the performance figures too. Now the Kushaq has seen a reasonable amount of success. Will the Slavia be able to do the same? Well, it's easier in the SUV segment. SUVs are truly the flavor of the season. Sedan segment hasn't been easy for everyone. But Skoda think that the Slavia can bring sexy back into the sedan segment and actually help them to triple their sales figures in 2022. Now, does the Slavia have what it takes? Well, that's what I'm going to find out today. But before I get into all the details, do remember to hit the subscribe button on the Autocar India channel and click on the bell icon for notifications. We're just about to hit the 2 million mark. Come and join our family. There is lots to like about the way it looks, with all of those sharp creases on the body giving it a chiseled look. The nose sports a large grille with chrome surrounds and the headlamps extend outwards from the top corners. The LED DRLs have the check crystalline effect that's now a trademark, and there's a large air dam on the chin. Now, as one gets to the lower half of the car and you look underneath, you realize that the Slavia has quite a lot of ground clearance too. The side also sports sharp creases and it has the swooping coupe roofline. And while it does have a smart set of alloys, they are 16-inch and the wheel-to-body gap is quite large. At the rear, the boot styling is on point with the brand and the snazzy crystalline effect continues to the taillights as well. Now, Skoda want to stake claim to being the most spacious sedan in the segment. Is it? Well, let's take a look. We'll compare it with the most spacious in the segment, the City and the Ciaz. It is the widest in the segment and it has stolen the honour of the longest wheelbase from the Ciaz, which was the best so far, but just by a 1mm margin. In length and height, it sits in between both the Ciaz and the City. What's interesting is the Slavia's 179mm ground clearance that really makes it feel close enough to the SUVs that it might compete with. It went through quite a lot of the rough stuff we had to counter to get to our static shoot location without ever bottoming out. Now, the Skoda Slavia scores well in boot space too. It's got 521 litres, which is the class-leading number. And as you can see, I've piled in a whole lot of luggage here. We've got a large suitcase, 2 small trolleys, 2 duffels, and there's still plenty of more room to put in stuff. When the boot is open, however, you will notice some very unfinished felt bits used for sound damping, which leave a lot of the metal area exposed. It's a solid door shut and it feels like a Skoda, and Nikhil spoke about this in his walk around as well. Now, for the rest, on the inside, it's pretty familiar. There's a lot that is like the Kushaq. You get the dual tone dashboard, you get the 10-inch screen which sits in the recess, but the recess does have a different texturing. You get the 2-spoke steering wheel as well. Now, there's a lot that's similar, like the aircon vents which are touch too, but there's a lot that's different as well. You get a nice metallic strip that splits the 2-tone dash right across. You get round aircon vents as well. You get digital dials on the top end variant, and it does have 3 themes as well. Now, if you want to know more about the touchscreen, how it functions, the connected app and the 8-speaker music system, well, click on the link on our screen right now, because the editor of our sister channel Stuff is giving you the full detailed review in that video. Now, coming back to the Slavia, all the features that everyone really wants to know about, the key ones, yes, it does have a sunroof. There is wireless charging as well, and it's pretty interestingly done. It's a vertical slot and the phone kind of leans against it. Very easy to access, and that opens up space for another storage for the phone right behind it. You also have ventilated seats. So yeah, it has quite a few features. It's a comfy interior. And there are lots of practical storage spaces too. There's cup holders up front. All of these have anti-slip. You have 1 litre bottle door pockets as well. There's a nice elastic band to hold other things into the door pocket. You have a glove box and it is cooled too. So it is very practical. Let's take a look at all the other features and the safety features that you get. In terms of safety equipment, the Slavia impresses with standard fit ESC, low tire pressure warning, ISOFIX child seat mounts, and even 3-point seat belts at the back. Top spec versions of the Slavia will also get 6 airbags. The electronic differential system uses brakes to prevent wheel spin at the inner wheels in a corner, while the multi-collision brake system activates in the event of an accident to automatically bring the car to a safe stop. There are no rear disc brakes though. However, it does have front disc brake wiping. The model does not have a global NCAP crash test rating as yet, but Skoda says the model goes well above the requirements of Indian regulations. Now here's a quick overview of the feature list. Overall, the Slavia's interior is good looking, and though it's much better finished than what we saw on the Kushaq, with things like the roof liner now being knitted, it is still not the quality of what we have come to expect from European brands. Well, let's get down to the business of seeing how it's on the road. Now, as you get in, it's pretty easy to get into a comfortable driving position. Steering has tilt and telescope. There's a load of height adjust for the seat. And with the flat dash and large glass area, visibility is also very good. The Slavia will come with a 1.5 and a 1 litre engine option mated to manual and automatic. Now these are essentially the same engine and gearbox combinations as in the Kushaq and even have the same power figures. I've begun my drive with the 1 litre TSI, which has 115 HP and 178 Nm of torque. Now this 1 litre engine is very familiar. We've seen it in the Kushaq. It was impressive there. It remains impressive here. In fact, it feels more energetic in the Slavia. In our initial test, the 100 came up in a pretty quick 11.16 seconds, which is just about a second slower than the 1.5 City to put it into perspective. And it does feel pleasantly quick on the road too. It's easy to drive, and that is reflected in the in-gear acceleration times that are actually quicker than the taller geared City. Now when you're ambling around at city speeds, crawling along, you can be a lazy driver. It will pick up from lower RPMs even in a higher gear, but progress will be slow till you get to the 1800 RPM mark, and then the power really kicks in. And once it does, this engine is really, actually quite fun to drive. Every time you put your foot down, you get a nice dose of power. But if you want a quick overtake or a sudden slug of power after you slow down, then a downshift is needed. It's a nice positive gearbox, the shifts are slick, the clutch is light and easy, so driving in the city will also be a breeze. City or highway, the 1 litre does the job, and it does it well. It never feels like a small engine, and whether it's performance or handling, the Slavia impresses. It is softly sprung, so there is a bit of roll, but there's lots of grip on offer. And the steering actually gives you a good amount of confidence as well. Even during spirited driving, the Slavia holds its own. The roll in the car is progressive, so even when you drive enthusiastically, the Slavia stays tethered to the road quite impressively. And while the steering gives you confidence at higher speeds, on the flip side, it's light enough for parking and city driving too. The fact is, the more you drive the Slavia, the more you begin to enjoy the combination of performance and handling. And while the experience behind the wheel is so enjoyable, it can keep you pinned there for a while. There will be those that ride in the back seat, so let's see how the passenger experience is. So they said it would be spacious, and spacious it is. There is loads of legroom in this back seat. And yes, I know what you're going to say, she's short, but here's a picture on your screen of someone taller sitting in this back seat, so you understand there is more than enough legroom for tall people here as well. Now, though the roof is scooped out and the seat is set low, taller people may find their head pretty close to the roof line still. So yes, the window line is high, but there's enough glass area, so it still feels open and airy. There's space to stretch your feet out under the front seat as well, so you can get pretty comfortable. Floorboard is flat, so third passenger will be comfortable. There's enough leg room for the third passenger too. This cabin is wide, so yes, 3 abreast will be pretty easy in this back seat. The seats themselves are extremely comfortable and supportive. There's good enough under thigh support as well. So this back seat is a really nice place to be. There's everything that you need: aircon vents, 2 USB-C ports, handy pockets, one smaller one for your phone and a larger one to slip in your iPad or other larger things. You do have the armrest and cup holders as well. The back seat is spacious, no doubt, but it's also very comfortable because of the ride quality. At low speeds, it's got a nice, soft, pliant ride, and it subdues all the bad road. It's a comfortable ride quality, and even as you pick up the pace, it's flat and it is composed. So this back seat is a very comfortable place to be. In fact, the ride quality of the Slavia is one of its strengths. After getting a good feel of the manual, it was time to step into the automatic. So I'm driving the 1-litre automatic now, and this should make light work of city driving, and it does. It moves up the gears very rapidly. I'm about 75 and I'm already in 5th gear, so you can expect this to be fuel efficient. And it also makes the car feel more refined because you're never really hearing the engine rev hard like you do in the manual. It cruises along comfortably, and when you want a big slug of power, put your foot down and it'll drop 2 or 3 gears pretty rapidly. So yeah, nipping in and out of traffic will be easy. Shifts come quick enough. And if you still want a little bit more of a spirited drive, you can put it into sport mode where the shifts come faster and it holds the gear right up to the red line. And should you want a quicker downshift, you also have the paddles. What the automatic does well is mask the lack of power below the 1800 RPM mark, and so it does make the drive experience effortless. The automatic does the 0 to 100 in 12.13 seconds, which is almost a second quicker than its closest rival, the 1-litre Verna. And the 20 to 80 and 40 to 100 acceleration times are also quicker. The 1-litre TSI does well in combinations with both gearboxes, and for those that want that little more punch, the manual does let you access the power better. But the automatic also does a great job and ensures that your drive experience is more effortless. At the time of this review, the prices are not known, but we expect the Slavia 1-litre TSI to be priced between 10 to 16 lakh. We were impressed with this engine in the Kushaq and are even more impressed with it in the Slavia. In fact, there's lots to be impressed about with the Slavia. It's spacious, it's packed with features for convenience, entertainment and safety. The ride quality is super and the performance enjoyable. So while SUVs may be the flavor, with its great ground clearance and massive boot, I think the Slavia has what it takes to compete and compete strongly. And yes, with its looks, it is bringing sexy back to sedans. Now coming back to the Kushaq, there is... Again I did it, yeah? What is wrong with me? Yes, it does have a sunscreen, I was going to say. 1 minute, what is this called? I've just forgotten the word for a minute. Yeah, I just blanked out. Huh? Yeah. Huh. Okay. Seriously, I just blanked. Okay, chalo. Now, as far as space goes, well, the Skoda Slavia is scoring well, and it scores well on the boot as well. It's got boot as well, ho gaya.